All alone! Score!
Hello everyone, welcome to my first predictions video. In this video we're going to talk about the NHL proposed 2014 playoff format. Playoff in quotation marks, since the first round is also known as the play-in round. It doesn't even count as actual playoffs. So the play-in round, if you win your best of 5 series, you move on to the first round of the NHL playoffs. If you lose, the good thing is you're in the Lafreniere, Byfield, whoever else you want to throw in there, sweepstakes. And you get a chance at number 1 pick. So I guess, win, maybe. Anyway, so let's start with the Eastern Conference. In the East, we have the 8th seeded Toronto Maple Leafs playing against the 9th seeded Columbus Blue Jackets. Now this series is very hard to predict. It could go either way. It looks like Seth Jones is back and will be healthy for Columbus. Morgan Rielly should be back at 100%. They may even have Mikheyev. Unlikely to have little Andreas, but that's fine. Getting Mikheyev back, the Superman, would really help. I think the Leafs will come out of this and win 3-2. So they'll win the best 5 series, 3-2. It'll be a close series. Toronto's just a little bit more powerful on the offensive end. They take it. Next, we have the 5th seeded Pittsburgh Penguins versus the 12th seeded Montreal Canadiens. Had a little bit of a laugh there. A 500 winning percentage team has a chance at the playoffs. Pittsburgh was so far ahead of Montreal. If this was a best of 3, I might be scared for Pittsburgh because I think Carey Price could win 2 games for Montreal if he plays lights out. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Pittsburgh is going to take it to Montreal. Carey Price will steal 1 game from Montreal, but Pittsburgh will win the other 3. It'll be Pittsburgh in 4 on the back of Malkin, Crosby, and the returning Gensel. Next, we have the New York Islanders sitting in 7th against the Florida Panthers sitting in 10th. This series could go either way. Bobrovsky will play amazing. New York Islanders are an amazing defensive team. They will be close games. I think they'll be 1-goal games each game. However, I think this series is done in 3. And I think the New York Islanders win it in 3 games. 3-0 sweep. Our last play-in round game on the Eastern Conference, we got Carolina against the New York Rangers. If I'm Carolina, I hate this. I would hate to have to play New York. New York was on fire before the break, and I think they're still going to be just as dominant. They have 3 goalies, New York, which really helps them for this long playoff run, if they can qualify, that is. But Shesterkin is brilliant, and I think that him and the firepower up front with Zibanejad and Panarin, they've got this. And Carolina will lose to New York. It will be a close series. It will go to 5. New York will just win Game 5. I'm going to go with a 5-2 win. Okay, we're now in the West. We're in the buy-in round, the play-in round, whatever the heck you want to call it. Calgary's 8th, Winnipeg's 9th. This series, best of 5. It's going to 5. It's going to double overtime in Game 5. Matty Tkachuk is going to be a pain in the ass the entire series. He is going to be just pissing off every single Winnipeg Jet player. But Hellebuyck's going to keep Winnipeg in it. A late goal by Winnipeg brings it to overtime. First overtime, done. Second overtime. 5-6 minutes to go. In the second overtime, Matty Tkachuk is going to take a penalty. He's going to over-aggressive. They're going to call that penalty. And Mark Scheifele is going to score the game-winning goal in overtime for the Jets to move on and play the number 1 seed. Next, you have the 5th-ranked Edmonton Oilers against the 12th-ranked Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks, not the best team. However, everyone's saying, ooh, could we see the Blackhawks of old? What about if Corey Crawford gets hot? Patty Kane's back at it. Jonathan Toews is right there. DeBrincat finds a scoring touch again. It's not going to matter because Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are just going to be biting at it. They just want to win. And they're going to go roughshod over the Chicago Blackhawks. It's not going to be fun. Edmonton's going to win in 4. McDavid and Draisaitl will have 9 and 10 points each. And that's it. That's the series. Next, you have the 7th-seeded Vancouver Canucks against the 10th-seeded Minnesota Wild. This is going to be a close series. You will have a game or two that's a blowout for either Vancouver or Minnesota. In the end, it's Vancouver's high-powered offense that is going to lead them over Minnesota in Game 5. It'll be a big score. I'm going to say about 6-1. Pettersson probably get 2 goals. Horvat might chip in there. Markstrom will shut the door with about 26 saves. And that's it. Vancouver makes the playoffs. Minnesota, good luck, you're in the lottery. Last matchup in the play-in round, we have the Nashville Predators, seeded 6th against the Arizona Coyotes, seeded 11th. I am biased towards the Coyotes. I absolutely love the underdog team. And I think they're going to upset the Nashville Predators. They will upset the Nashville Predators in 4 games. Phil DeThrill has had basically the summer off again. He is going to be just in the best shape of his life because it's going to be the exact same when he enters the new season. He's probably going to be the fastest skater out there because he's used to it, and that's going to help Taylor Hall. After these playoffs, Taylor Hall is going to turn around, give Phil Kessel a nice handshake and say, thank you for the $10 million. So that's what's going to happen. Arizona moves on, beating Nashville 3-1. Okay, now we've done the play-in round for the East, the play-in round for the West. What about the round robin? I'm going to give you my predictions for the little round robin in the East, little round robin in the West, just to see where the top 4 teams will end up being seeded. Though for these predictions, I'm going to stick with Boston 1, Tampa 2, Washington 3, Philadelphia 4, and in the West, St. Louis 1, Avs 2, Vegas 3, and Dallas 4. How I see it, though, Boston will still stay number 1. Flyers will end up doing really well in this round robin and end up at number 2. Tampa goes 3, Washington goes 4. But I'll stick with what they have now. Boston, Tampa, Washington, Philly. In the West, I see Vegas taking over number 1, St. Louis going to 2, Colorado going to 3, and Dallas staying 4. But again, for this, we'll go St. Louis is first, Avs are second, Vegas third, Dallas fourth. Okay, so we've made it finally to the first round. We have our number 1 seed, Boston Bruins, playing against the 8th seeded Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh no, it's happening again. Boston and Toronto are going to 7 games. Toronto is going to have a lead in the 3rd period. Now this time it's just a 1-goal lead. They will give up that 1-goal lead. Boston will make it 3-3. But then Superman Mikheyev will score a goal, and the Leafs will hold on the back of Freddie Anderson. The Leafs will defeat the Bruins 4-3 in Game 7, 4-3 for the series. Toronto has slayed the beast, just like Michael Jordan did to the Celtics. Leafs are on, Bruins are going home. We'll then have the number 5 seeded Pittsburgh Penguins play against the 4th seeded Philadelphia Flyers. I see Philadelphia taking advantage of Pittsburgh's defense. Philly is going to go at them. They're going to cough up many turnovers. Carter Hart is going to play lights out, and Philadelphia is going to win this series in 6. We then have the New York Islanders, who just swept the Florida Panthers. They'll play number 2 seed Tampa Bay Lightning. The New York Islanders just swept Florida. They play another Florida-based team. This time, Tampa Bay is the one who's doing the sweeping. Tampa sweeps the New York Islanders 4-0. Tampa will not allow what happened last year to happen again. Tampa Bay dominates from start to finish. And lastly, from the first round in the Eastern Conference, we have the underdog New York Rangers playing against the third seed Washington Capitals. And Ovechkin and the rest of the Capitals are not happy about it. The Rangers are hot, they're on a streak, and they beat Washington in 6 games, 4 games to 2. Shesterkin outplays both the Washington Capitals goalies. Panarin outplays all the other forwards on Washington, and Adam Fox surprises everyone and outplays John Carlson. New York Rangers move on. Now over to the West. We have the number 1 seed St. Louis Blues against the Winnipeg Jets. For this series, it's going to 7 again. Just like last year, it's going to be an intense series, but this time, Winnipeg is going to win. They're going to win their 2nd straight 7th game. Mark Scheifele is just becoming an absolute god in Winnipeg. They move on. Then have the number 4 seeded Dallas Stars. They play against the Edmonton Oilers. Will Dallas be able to stop Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl? The answer is no. Oilers get hot early. They beat the Dallas Stars in 5 games. Ben Bishop does all he can, but he just can't handle McDavid and Draisaitl. Next, we have the number 2 seed Colorado Avalanche. They're playing against the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver had a great series against Minnie to get into these playoffs. They're ready to go, but Quinn Hughes and the D-Corps cannot handle Landeskog, Rantanen, and good old McKinnon. McKinnon is on fire throughout this first round of the playoffs. They beat Vancouver in 5 games, all close games. Markstrom keeps Vancouver in it, but Avalanche are just too powerful. Avs win in 5. Lastly, we have the number 3 seed Vegas Golden Knights against that underdog Arizona Coyotes. And I'm doing it again. Arizona is going to shock Vegas. Arizona is going to beat Vegas in 6 games. Kemper's going to steal a couple. There will be some fluky goals that really cost Vegas. And Arizona moves on. They move on to the 2nd round.
We've made it. We're here. The final 8 teams. In the Eastern Conference, you will have the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Philadelphia Flyers. You will then have Tampa Bay versus the New York Rangers. In the West, you have St. Louis versus Edmonton. You have Colorado versus Arizona. Who wins? Who moves on? Who goes home? Leafs Flyers. The Leafs will beat the Flyers in 7 games. Carter Hart starts to get tired down the stretch. The Leafs beats James Van Riemsdyk, and they're off to the conference finals. The first time since they lost to Carolina way back when. Tampa Bay versus New York Rangers. Will New York continue to upset the teams ahead of them? Not this time, no. Tampa Bay Lightning dismantle the New York Rangers, and the hype machine is done. Tampa Bay wins in 5. Over on the West, St. Louis versus Edmonton. St. Louis is built for the playoffs. They're built for a long, deep run. But Edmonton is able to claw their way back. Even in games they are down, they're able to claw their way back. Their power play is very, very hot. And Edmonton defeats St. Louis in 6 games. We then go to Colorado versus the underdog Arizona Coyotes. And just like with the New York Rangers, this is when it's done for Arizona. Colorado is too fast, too strong, too well-rounded, and Colorado beats Arizona in 5 games. There's only so much Darcy Kemper can do for the Arizona Coyotes. And there we have it. We're now off to the conference finals. We have Leafs, Bolts, which should have been the divisional game. We have Edmonton, Colorado. Starting in the East, can the Leafs finally make it to their Stanley Cup? The answer is no, they can't. They do end up losing to Tampa Bay. They do lose in 7 games. The series is back and forth. There are some low-scoring games, 2-1 games. There are a game each where the teams absolutely blow each other out of the water. In the end, Tampa Bay wins in 7 based on their amazing power play. Over in the West, Edmonton, Colorado. McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, Rantanen. I guess we can say Nugent Hopkins and Landeskog. Then you have the big difference maker, Cal McCarr on defense. Colorado finally stops Edmonton's run for the Stanley Cup, beating them in 6 games. Nathan McKinnon outshines both Draisaitl and McDavid. They're off to their first cup. And then here we are, Stanley Cup final. Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Colorado Avalanche. Will it be Tampa Bay's year? The expectations were there last year. They went unfulfilled. This year they've made it. They're ready. They're playing amazing, but so is Colorado. This is going to be a Stanley Cup final that goes into overtime in Game 7. And the goal scorer in Game 7 will be Cal McCarr. He's going to break up a pass, going to go down an odd man rush, and he will shoot short side and beat Andrei Vasilevsky to win the Stanley Cup. Colorado Avalanche are your 2020 Stanley Cup champions. Well, those are my predictions. We'll see how I do. And yeah, please comment down below what your predictions are for the Stanley Cup playoffs. If anything changes, I will definitely update this video. But if not, please like, subscribe. Thank you.